Well, welcome everybody to today's webinar. We are so happy that you are here to join us. We have folks from around the world with us today, and we are very excited to share one platform, unlimited potential with you. My name is Andy Schaefer, and I'm very pleased to be joined today by our VP of Product and Marketing, Lisa Wolf. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping items to share. Please feel free to use the chat to ask any questions, and we will get to those in order. Anything we miss, we'll get to at the end. Also, everyone in attendance will receive a copy of this webinar along with the slides. So just to take a quick look at the agenda, we have a little bit of something for everyone today. And for those of you that are visiting us from the curriculum and instruction side of the house, chief academic officers, we have some great new additions and information to share with on our platform for Define Learning. For those of you joining us that interested in careers, CCMR, CTE, we have wonderful additions and exciting updates on Define Careers. For those of you that are visiting and interested in tracking your progress towards your portrait of a graduate, we have some information to share on Define Goals. And of course, our young learners, we're excited to share how our platform updates are impacting the student experience. And finally, for those involved in professional development, professional learning, we have some very exciting updates from Defined Academy. We're also going to be sharing information, the timeline of releases, as well as I mentioned, we'll get to all of your questions and next steps at the end. But I know we're being visited by, and thank you for all of our existing partners that are with us today. We also know that we have some people that are just finding out more information about Define Learning, and I'll share a little bit of information about us. You can certainly see our mission on the screen. What we really like to share is that we are in the business of helping students answer the question of why am I learning this, as we put them into different roles in real-world application in all their different classes throughout the school day. We're also really endeavoring to help students answer the question of what will I do when I graduate from high school? And what we do is we provide them with a wide range of experiences in hundreds of different careers along the way. And then when they're walking across the stage with that diploma, with a good idea of what they'd like to do next, we also want to outfit them with these global competencies of problem solving, the critical thinking, and other different competencies that are going to help them succeed whatever job that they end up taking upon graduation. So moving on to the next slide, how do we actually accomplish this? At Define, we focus on the 4 pillars of deeper learning. So when you look at what Lisa's going to be sharing with you today in our library of content, it is going to be career connected. It's also going to be focused on those skills I mentioned, those future ready skills. It is going to apply to the real world. And we're also going to be asking students to solve problems, to create products, and really work on a project-based scenario with their fellow classmates. So that's how we accomplish it. And then just to take a look at the platforms that we'll be sharing today. And again, I should point out that we're unifying this, but we're going to be taking a look at Define Learning, which is our library of K through 12 projects aligned to standards. Define Careers, which is a collection of hundreds of day in the life of experiences, virtual internships for students, and Defined Academy, the professional learning that helps teachers excel in this environment. Wrapped around Define Goals, which is going to help you measure what's most important to you. So with the backdrop of looking at what the core offerings of Define Learning and Define Careers are, Lisa, welcome. And wonder if you could share a little bit about what users can expect from when they log into the new platform.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andy, for that introduction. Yes, I'd like to, again, welcome everybody who's on. We're just thrilled to be able to showcase a lot of the work that we've been doing the last several months, and we'll be continuing throughout the summer as we roll out our unified platform next school year. So I am showing you right now what our unified platform looks like. This is something that, like I said, we're very excited about. We're putting all of our career connected, deeper learning solutions all in one place. In the past, we've had Define Learning on one platform. We had Define Careers on a different platform. Defined Academy was on a different platform. We're going to bring all of that together in one unified site, making that a streamlined experience for educators as well as students. So I am in right now as an educator. So you can see what an educator dashboard looks like in our new experience. A lot of this, if you're familiar with defined learning, you're going to see some similarities here, certainly. But I'm going to show you some different things as well and kind of where we're upgrading this experience for everybody. Along the left, you're going to notice your navigation menu. We're right here on the home. We're going to have that welcome message that you have up here, of course, still linking to Knowledge Base with all of our resources. We just updated this week, or last week actually, a place for you all to be able to start to experience this for any of our existing customers. And of course, if you are new to us and you'd like a demo account, we're certainly happy to set you up with one as well by going to definelearning.com, sign up for a demo, and you can have access to this as well. But that is what that button is here for all of our existing users. We just turned this on as an exploration period for everybody. And, a couple of other things up here. So you got your welcome message here, but right down here is what I'm most excited about. This is where we're going to be bringing all of those products together. Now, like I mentioned, I'm in a demo account, so you're going to see everything. Our users are, as we make this transition, for every customer who is a partner with us, you're going to see the products that you have purchased. So some of you will maybe only see Define Learning, which will be right here, and everybody's going to have access to Defined Academy. We'll get more details on that in a little bit. But within each one of these product tiles, you're going to be able to click in. And this is where you're going to see all of the different courses, or all of the different catalogs there and all of the courses within it. So a lot of it's still going to be similar to what you're used to in Define Learning, in Define Careers. We're going to get into that in a little bit too. We'll go into more in depth in all of this, but for each one of these is the unified site. All of those are in the same place, and you're going to be able to search for different tasks and careers and projects across all of the platforms right in one place. The search bar is going to be up here. You can click on the magnifying glass, search by subject. You can search by course. You can search by unit or grade level, and whatever products you have purchased, they're all going to be right there. You can search by keyword, and you can still search by standard, which is only going to be for Defined Learning since that is our standards aligned product. But that is just in a nutshell, an overview of the dashboard, bringing together each one of these, and we'll go into more depth in those as well. But that is going to be kind of our new unified dashboard.
Well, thank you, Lisa. And maybe starting with the Define Learning, how has Define Learning been enhanced in the new platform?
Great question, Andy. So if I go in here, I gave you just a very sneak peek of Define Learning. So let's dig in a little bit more as to what exactly is going to be changing here. For the most part, you're still, in terms of the searching, it's going to be exactly the same. You're going to still have all of your content area catalogs, just the same way and organized, like I said, by all of those different courses that we have in here with that unit outline. But what we're updating this summer, we've updated and added this preview catalog because we are going to be making a transition in July to really kind of streamline the experience of what these projects look like. So this preview catalog, you'll all see if you're going to go in and kind of explore this new layout and interface. This is what we want to kind of show you in terms of how the tasks and the projects are going to be changing within Define Learning. So we've got a couple of examples here. I'm just going to go into the 6 through 12. We've only got a couple here like this. We are going to do a kind of mass changeover of all of the different projects in Define Learning to this preview format. So a couple of things to note. You're going to see over here on the left all of the different slides. We have kind of a nice table of contents that's going to be right there for everybody, and a couple of other things that are going to change as we go through the slideshow. You're going to notice that we're a little bit more clear on the sections of all of the different slides, what they are. You'll notice I'm navigating using a next button, and we have previous rather than sometimes those arrows got kind of hidden. So we did streamline that a little bit. And right here on the student side, and you'll see it right here on the educator side, all of the check-ins as well as the product submissions are going to be done right through the slideshow. So we're very excited about that. So those are going to be some of the big things that you'll notice. I'm also excited to share some new AI customization tools that are going to be launching in the fall as well. So if we go ahead and want to, and if you're thinking, hey, this looks kind of familiar, Yes, if you were paying it, if you were using some of our quick projects that we were rolling out all throughout this year, it was kind of our first phase of this implementation. It had the same structure as well. So you may have seen this if you were using some of the K through 8 math and science quick projects. So that was part of that. But let's go back to, I wanted to actually show, I was just here this morning. Hold on one second. I was going to show you a customization of this, but let me go back to a different one. Oh, create a new copy. So we're still going to be able to customize all of our projects just like we were before. Now, if I enable editing, we're really excited to announce some of these new features that we've heard some feedback on that we really want to kind of highlight. For any of the products, one of the things that we were hearing was we wanted it to be easier, first of all, to just do one or two, one of the products, if there's 1 to 3. So of course you have the hide and show, and this will automatically update in the slide presentation, which people are, I know that's going to be easy and helpful for teachers. But if we go into any one of these projects and I click edit, this new toolbar just rolled out within the last week or month or two. So this has a lot of new AI features that you can use. In particular, if you want to highlight something, have it do an audio file of that, you can copy and paste that right in there, have an audio file. If you want to do a, whoops, wrong button here, have an AI image created, maybe if we want a report or something like that, we can have some sort of a AI generated image right within this, and you can have this added right into your slideshow if you want. This is obviously pretty big, but you can resize that and it will show up right within your slideshow, which is, again, people I know really want to have more imagery for students as well, and a number of other things up here in the toolbar. But right here, I want to focus on what will be coming out this fall is the AI Assist button. And right here, you'll notice a couple of buttons. You can make things just with the click of a button, enhance them, make them a little bit more difficult, or you can simplify it. This is going to make differentiation much easier for teachers as we go through here. So it's going to give some ideas. We've got a couple of different ideas. We can choose which ones we want. Say, okay, I really like this idea, the interactive data visualization component. I'm going to say, go ahead and apply that one in here. Takes a little bit here to think about it. And then it automatically includes that right here. So I've got my image that I already included. If I wanted to have that, I can go ahead and replace. And you'll see that that is down here in the products. And this will automatically update in the slides as well. So we're really excited about that coming out in Define Learning for next year, as well as Define Careers. But this is available right now, the updated toolbar, and then this AI Assist button will be available there in the fall. So that is a quick overview of everything that's going to be new in Define Learning, having that all right there. Please check out the preview catalog. You'll have all of those in there as well. These are going to be in the existing format, but you'll see the new format in those tools, as well as if you do any of the quick projects in existing Define Learning.
Thank you, Lisa. Love the updates, love the AI enhancements. So it's great stuff. You mentioned Define Careers, and how will users access and utilize Define Careers in the new platform versus the old?
Great question as well, Andy. So you'll notice, in the past, we had 2 different ones. Educators could go up here, switch to Define Careers if they did have both, or just log in directly to Define Careers, but they were kind of 2 separate platforms. Now it's going to be right here on their dashboard within our unified platform to really streamline things. So if we can go in here, you're going to see all of the different Define Careers content areas that we have. We have it broken down by K to 5. We have our middle school careers, we have our high school, and our other collections here, financial literacy for middle school and high school, as well as post-secondary planning, which is for grades 6 through 12 as well. So if we go into one of these, for example, you're going to notice all of this is broken down, whereas, when I showed a math catalog and Define Learning that was broken down by all of those different courses, here this is going to be organized by the new 14 career clusters from the new framework that was released recently on the national level. So within each one of these catalogs, you can go in, It's going to be laid out just like defined learning, and each one of the units is going to be its own subcluster. And you can see all of the different careers that are featured within each one of those subclusters. And these are going to be laid out just like the defined learning tasks as well. Now, if we think back to the differences between defined learning and defined careers, of course, defined learning aligned directly to the standards and really emphasis on getting those content area pieces in there. Defined careers is going to put the career first and foremost, and they're learning about the cluster, the subcluster. You're going to see it looks very similar to the layout of defined learning, but it is going to have more on that career that students can really learn on that the clusters, the subclusters. Again, having students be able to just answer those questions right in the platform itself. So a very similar layout there. Now, there's a number of other different features within defined careers that are going to set it apart from defined learning, when it's really going to put, like I said, that career exploration and experience at the forefront for students. You'll notice here at the top, Defined Careers does have a career assessment that is focusing on the abilities, the interests, as well as the work values of students to help them get match with different careers. They have access to all over 600 careers that we have, but to really kind of help them fine tune and do some self-discovery there. This has a simulated job board and mock interview tool as well. So within here, and again, these are real jobs out that they might see. These are not actual job postings. I do want to be clear on that, but you can kind of see this as available positions just to kind of help students experience it. You can see it in list view or map view. They can go in, take a look at what a job description might look like, kind of pretend apply for it, come up with their cover letter, their resume, upload those. And we also have mock interviews here too. We've got two different versions, whether it's the Explorer, which is grades 6 through 10, and the Advanced for grades 11 and above.
Hi there. Thanks for taking the time to interview with us today. First, can you tell me a little about yourself and what interests you about a career in bioinformatics at 10x Genomics?
So this is going to have a whole simulated experience mock interview. Students can type in their response. They can also record. It will go through, in this case, there are 7 questions that they'll go through. They'll receive feedback at the end. Just in the interest of time, I'm not going to go through this right now, but certainly would love to show that more in depth later on if you'd like to see that. There's a number of career tools. So we've got the interview preparation kit. This is where it's going to help them kind of on a static level think through how to do an interview, kind of what we just saw. This is going to show different things, and they can kind of practice here as well, recording or answering the responses just more on a general level if you want to have everybody doing the exact same thing at the same time, or we've got that simulated experience for one particular career. And then lastly, I'll show you the virtual internships. We had virtual internships already in Defined Careers, which were very well received. We know in a lot of schools and communities, everybody wants to provide work-based learning experiences for students, but there just aren't enough experiences in a community a lot of times to support all of the students. Or maybe if they're in a rural area, like where I came from with a town of 1,600, there just weren't any at all for any of us. This is a great alternative for something like that. We're working on really making what we already had. We had 22 different ones, all for the different career clusters, as well as large different career groups. And we're working on making these much more immersive. So just to give you a little preview of what this looks like, I'm in as the nursing virtual internship, so you can kind of see what this looks like. You can see up above, or we'll start over here on the left, we've got different activities where they're going to be introduced to the career, learning a little bit about it. I'm going through this pretty quickly just because we've got a lot of cool updates, and then knowledge checks along the way. And kind of give some feedback on each one of those. We've got career future skills, so kind of looking at different skills. In this case, we have critical thinking here as an example, and how does that look in the context of nursing? And how can they apply those? We've got different experiences here as well. going through, how do you respond? Again, all of these kind of quick knowledge checks. And then finally, because one of the most important things of an internship is getting the experience, and that's where Define Careers is going to really help students experience that, is working through and doing the goal, role, audience, and situation that we have in both Define Learning and Define Careers projects already to give them an authentic situation. So the last thing that I'll mention here while we're in here, we're also providing different locations up here at the top. So you can see right now we're at the emergency intake reception. We've got hotspots for them to explore where they can kind of learn a little bit more about that particular area. You can see all of the different areas here, as well as maybe at a nursing station, what's that going to look like, and different experiences for each one of those. So that is just a very quick look at what we've got kind of on the docket for Define Careers and what we'll be rolling out next fall, and kind of how those projects, and if for those who were existing Define Careers customers, a couple of other things that are changing. You may have remembered it was used to be a 5-lesson structured course is how it was. Because we're going through this unified platform change, and what we heard a lot of when we launched Define Careers is people loved it because it was a nice student-driven platform that they could allow them to explore and experience careers. But then we also heard we want to use this as course curriculum and content within our classes and use it as an instructional tool. And we also need to be able to customize it. So now in Define Careers, if we go into, I kind of showed you what a career project looks like. All of those customization tools that I showed you in Define Learning also available in Define Careers and available all in that one same structure. So that's the other thing that's newer within Define Careers.
Thank you, Lisa. So many exciting enhancements, new features. I know you could spend an entire session on virtual internships, and I know we will as we get closer to back to school. So thank you so much for sharing all of that. So my next question for you is, as I mentioned at the outset, we certainly have many that are interested in tracking their progress towards their own unique portrait of a graduate goals. So how does Define Goals fit into this new enhanced platform experience?
Yes, so that was Define Goals is one of our newer offerings that was a customized implementation of Defined Learning and or Defined Careers, where we're taking a look at projects, whether they were Defined Learning or the career courses in Defined Careers, and really starting to look at different ways to measure future ready skills. Part of that was being able to create a custom catalog, whether it was aligning to a scope and sequence and then having everybody do the exact same project, because then you're going to have that unified data source for different projects, of course, that are aligned to that scope and sequence, as well as measuring a common skill. So that is where this custom catalog tile comes into play. So this is where we're going to take a look at any sort of customized implementation, and it might be whether it's a list of Defined Learning projects, a list of Defined Careers projects, or if you're using both, you can have this both combined into one because they are delivered on the same platform now. So this is just a sample, way that people might look at Defined Goals and say, okay, breaking it down by grade level. I went into 6th grade projects. You can see I've just got two units here, the first semester and the second semester. And this is where we can take a look and say, okay, we're as a portrait of a graduate, one of our goals that we want all of our students to graduate with, critical thinking skills, or, communication skills, collaboration skills. A lot of people have these great goals that they want to be able to do, and we all want our graduates to have those skills. But the problem is a lot of times we don't know how to measure that. And that's where Define Goals comes in this customized implementation through Define Goals. You'll see over here, this is an example of one way that this could look, where we're looking at in 6th grade, the first semester, we've got this project here that we're going to work on. It's the Research Consultant Critical Thinking module. Now, this is just a Defined Learning task that we pulled that aligned with, for example, a scope and sequence that all math teachers in 6th grade would teach. This is going to look just like what they're used to in terms of Defined Learning. Where the customization comes into play, in addition to that custom catalog, is we go into the products and we're going to be able to measure those skills that a lot of times, standardized assessments aren't able to measure this, but we are going to be able to do that. Going back to, what you started off with, Andy, was the deeper learning and really trying to build those future ready skills. So we're able to embed this right within the rubric. All teachers are assigning and assessing that project. And we're going to be able to glean data off of all of these assessed projects on that critical thinking. We can use and work with the language that an individual school or district has for each one of their modules. And we have language as well. This is kind of based off of what our definition of critical thinking is, but this is very customizable as well. So that's really where defined goals is going to come into play, where you're going to have that customized catalog, what that looks like. Now, I do want to show you here. We also have defined careers in here as well. So in each one of our defined learning tasks, we had those defined careers, career connections. So if a student liked something that they did in defined learning in a task and they wanted to explore it in defined careers, or maybe you're embedding this whole portrait of graduate, which most are across an entire school or district, we want to measure those skills in CTE as well, or any sort of other course where maybe defined careers is going to be implemented. We can do the exact same thing where we've got this task is right in there, and they can take a look. We've got the product, we've got those rubrics, and we've got critical thinking there too. So no matter where it's being embedded, whether it's in a core academic area, we've got all of the math teachers teaching one, we've got all of the social studies teaching a skill, we've got it in CTE, we've got it everywhere that we want. All of those skills are going to be embedded throughout, the first and second semester of that sixth grade year, or whatever grade year you want it to be. We're heading grades 6 through 10, but this could be a K through 12. It could just be a couple of grades. Again, that is all very flexible, but that's where that's going to land. It's going to be a nice tile right there on the front and center for everybody, for any of that customized work that's been done for them to go into that custom collection. And then we're also able to customize a plan, which we'll talk about in a little bit too. That's the other part, but that's where they're going to see that from the educator standpoint. They're going to see a little bit more in the reports then too. So all of those indicators, whatever they may be measuring, all of that is measurable then. I showed you in the rubric after they've been graded. They're able to take a look then. Okay, after we've taken a look at all of the scores from first to second semester, for example, they're going to be able to report on that as well.
Thank you, Lisa. So it sounds like if you have a profile of a graduate, portrait of a graduate, and you want to be able to showcase that data and your improvements towards those goals, defined goals, a great option for you.
Exactly.
So let's shift perspectives a little bit, because we talked about, what we've looked at so far is the educator interface. So how will the student experience be changed, or how will it look like in the new unified platform?
Yes. So just like we've done updates here for the teacher to kind of streamline everything, we've done the same thing for the student. So I'm going to log in as one of my students, which everybody can always log in as any of their students, but I'm going in as my Colorado student right here to kind of give you a look at their dashboard. So for anybody who was already a defined careers customer, we had updated that whole dashboard, and defined learning was coming next, and we based it off of what we had already done within defined careers. So you're going to see a streamlined interface for students where the 4 most recent projects that they've been assigned are going to show up right there on their dashboard, but they have access to all of them right there. If they do, speaking of defined goals, like I mentioned, if they do have a portrait of a graduate or some sort of a plan where they are trying to measure progress, this will show up right there on their dashboard. They can also access it over here. But this is where, from the student side, they can go in, if we're looking at all of these different components that a lot of times are commonly measured and looked at through a portrait of a graduate lens, students can go in there. We can, this is all customizable. We can tailor this to your particular portrait of a graduate. Students can go in, answer questions. We can put in however you want this, provide evidence of work. And that's where, again, after a student has uploaded something, if it was part of defined goals, we could have it upload directly to that particular indicator or metric within a plan, but they are going in and kind of self-evaluating where they are with each one of these different items. We are able to add multiple. So if you have, for example, I'm based in Colorado where ICAP is something that is measured statewide. And I know many states have different different frameworks that they're trying to measure as well. So whether you've got a statewide framework that you want to measure and perhaps your own school or district measure as well, you are able to have multiple plans in here as well. So we've got their four different tiles of their most recent. If they do have defined careers as well, they'll see their assessment over here on the right, the career review survey. We're also going to be updating the final report that's going to now embed all of defined learning and defined careers, which in the past it had only been defined careers. So we'll be excited to unveil that in the fall as well. They're of course going to have their portfolio available, and this was already unified. And so nothing really is going to be changing here because we already really liked what we were able to do, where they have their resume based off of what they had done during their high school career. They've got their experience, education, extracurriculars, and any of their projects that they had done in either defined learning or defined careers. So that they're going to have access to already. And of course, they can share this. We have that share link. Anything that they do, they can choose what they want to share out, whether it's on a college application or share it with their parents, however they want to share all of the good work that they've been doing. But you'll notice, depending on what they have access to, all of their defined careers projects are still going to be in there. All of their defined learning projects are still in there. And anything that is outside of our platform that they want to upload, they're able to include that as well. So their portfolio is pretty much going to stay the same. They've of course got their plans there that we already showed, and then any sort of messaging. And then just to show you very quickly, after a project has been assigned to a student, what it looks like on their end, you'll see on that new interface, they're going to have just at a glance what they've submitted already, kind of the status of all of their check-ins, all of their products that they've done, and they don't even have anything down below. We wanted to make sure that nothing was missed, and that was part of the reason that we included all of that right in here in the slideshow. So all of their submissions will be right here within the slideshow. Now, if they do have defined careers, they still have access to that whole library. They will click Explore Careers, be able to search for projects that way and enroll themselves. So that is still there as well. But that is just a quick look at defined careers and what that's going to look like on the student side of things.
Very exciting, Lisa. Thank you so much. And obviously, we know that there's tons of evidence to back up this type of teaching and learning, and how more engaging it is, how effective it is. But a big part of it, of course, is supporting our educators. And we've always had a tremendous number of professional learning offerings at Defined. But also we know there's more and some new offerings. And can you tell us a little bit more about how Defined Academy is integrated into the platform, and a little bit more about some of these virtual offerings that are available to our partners?
Absolutely. We are, like I said, we've been busy at work with a lot of different things, not only the platform, but creating a number of different on-demand self-paced virtual offerings for educators. And we'll get into how this looks in the platform. So in the past, Defined Academy was also on its own platform as well. And so now educators are going to be able to access this right within our new unified streamlined experience in the Defined platform. And everybody is going to have, if we look up in the upper left corner, a brand new offering, Getting Started with Defined. And this is going to be included with all Defined purchases to help everybody walk through how to do all of the things within Defined, whether it's Defined Learning or Defined Careers, that will be there. So I'll walk you through what that looks like, and we'll take a look at, everybody will have that tile because that will always be there. We do have 3 additional offerings that we are working on, and micro-credentials have been around for a while too, where they're getting a refresh, but we really want teachers to be able to demonstrate competency. And so this is that competency-based form of certification where they're going to be able to apply their skills. Everything is, they submit all of their work, and then it is reviewed by a third party, which is us, and we are able to see our teachers able to demonstrate whatever form of whatever. We've got 30 different specific micro-credentials as well as some that are associated with these two here on the bottom. So we've got our content connections collection that's going to be rolling out this fall and all throughout 25-26. And the focus of the content connections is, and I'll use myself as an example. I was a high school math teacher. How could I have used defined learning and specifically applied it to my teaching as a high school math teacher? So we're going to have 10 different courses here, 5 different content areas: math, science, social studies, ELA, and computer science and STEM. And then we're going to have a version for elementary and one for secondary. So these are going to be really specific and very helpful for the teachers of kind of that next kind of deeper dive into applying and using defined learning in the classroom. And then finally, we're going to be releasing our future ready skills collection too. So digging into, I'll use critical thinking as an example. So that was kind of tied in with what we did with defined goals. This is a great fit for anybody doing defined goals, but really anybody at all who's looking at trying to really embed those different future ready skills within their classroom. So we've got a number of different offerings there. So they're going to be able to access this right within, again, the platform. It's going to be a tile on their desktop. Any of the offerings that have been purchased will be here. Everybody will have getting started with defined, and then any of these other ones, depending on what is available for your district, will be there. The view is going to be very similar. It's going to be exactly the same as what they're used to, everybody's used to with defined learning and defined career. So again, trying to make sure that everything is very user-friendly. Within this course, this is going to kind of walk them through everything that they're going to do. There's going to be 4 structured units for them in terms of all of the different areas. You'll see all of those again below. Now, instead of kind of a bigger project, like what we're used to with defined careers and defined learning, for the teachers, we know teachers don't have much time. So these are all micro learning modules where each one can be done in bite-sized chunks, about 10 to 15 minutes, to really help. They're all going to follow the same structure of learn, practice, and reflect. So that will be a common theme as they are going through all of our different PD offerings. So here you're going to see just kind of how to navigate it. There's going to be instructional videos as they go through, and that's going to really kind of set teachers up for success as they are going through and learning about the platform. And that's it. That's the module wrap up right there in terms of that one. We try to make them very quick and easy for them to not only access, but to work through as well. So you'll see all of those. Now, the other offerings that are in there too, like I mentioned, we've got future ready skills. I used critical thinking as an example, but we're going to do these for several of the future ready skills. And these are going to be rolling out all throughout next year. But what is critical thinking? Why does this matter? How to, take that future ready skill, apply it in the classroom, as well as assessing and reflecting. So we will have those set up for every single future ready skill that we have used and have in our own portrait of a graduate, and which are going to be ones that are in most of them as well. The content connections, like I mentioned, these are the ones where it's specific for a content area teacher. And I listed off all of the ones that you're going to have. Each one of the units you're going to see is going to be aligned to one of our 4 pillars of deeper learning. So we've got the performance task, project-based learning, those future ready skills, but these are all specific to the context, in this case, secondary mathematics, as well as career connected learning. I know when I was teaching, one of the biggest questions is, when am I ever going to use this, Ms. Wolf? And so this, defined learning and defined careers really help answer that question anyway, but this is going to help walk teachers through, in the context of the subject area that they teach, how to actually apply that and use that with students. The very last one, just to kind of show you, is the micro-credentials. So we had micro-credentials already. They were on a separate platform, but we have brought them over, much more accessible, lots of different tools, and they're going to be set up using the exact same structure of all of our other virtual learning ideas as well. Now, these do take a little bit longer. All the other ones were kind of structured into 10 to 15 minute kind of micro learning modules. These are going to be about 60 to 120 minutes to really allow teachers to demonstrate. And like I said, after they submit their work, this is where they're going to be able to have the opportunity to earn a badge and really have that competency-based form of education and validation that then they can show that, yes, I do know how to do this, whatever it might be. So those are our four main offerings there that are within Defined Academy that we're really excited to A, make more accessible through the unified platform, but B, really being able to broaden the offerings that we have that can really be help teachers be more successful in the classroom.
Well, great stuff, Lisa. Thank you so much. So many new ways. I know a lot of folks out there are excited about transforming their classrooms, connecting classrooms to careers through deeper learning. Lots of great stuff today, and of course, the big question is the timing. So we've shared a lot today. Could you share a little bit more about the release schedule and how and when folks will be able to interact with all the new updates?
Yes, with anything like this is always kind of the big question. When is all of this happening? So as you can see, we have this out there right now, and we are right now in this very first area of May, which is the preview access. So last week, for all of our existing customers, you will see in that welcome message that I highlighted on the dashboard, you are able to preview this right now. And that was kind of the goal of this webinar, was to get you excited about what's coming next year, give you a walkthrough of some things that you might want to check out, for sure checking out that preview catalog of the new layout, as well as the new dashboard and how everything is going to work. Now, I do want to mention, of course, we are going to be working on this all throughout the summer. So this is a preview access, and we are working on refining, and it's going to be a living site. Everything's going to be changing daily, but that we do want everybody kind of getting familiar with that, from now all through June. Is going to be just kind of a time to explore and start to get excited about those new features. I mean, that AI tool I know that's something that teachers are very excited about in terms of differentiating all of those different projects for their classroom. So play around with that. In July, so I showed you the new task layout for defined learning tasks. Right around the 4th of July weekend, we're going to be converting all of those defined learning tasks into the new format. So that will be available in the new platform starting in July. Now, because we are in the process of creating all of these things and updating, we are constantly working on as many support materials as we can based on what is available within the platform. After we've gone through that conversion, we'll have a lot more available to create. So we're going to be updating everything in knowledge base, as well as getting started. Course is almost there. There's just a few features that we still need to create some videos for. So that will be available at the start of the school year. So everybody getting used to this new platform will have those available right at your fingertips. And then we do have a back to school training webinar with detailed updates scheduled for the middle of September. So think of this as like a part 1, and then we're gonna have the sequel, part 2, coming out in September, of all of the updates of things that I showed you a little bit more today, though I had to kind of keep it quick today because we're only 45 minutes. I know it's a full hour in September. So that is a high level overview, but of course, if you have any additional questions, reach out to your partner experience manager and we can answer those as well.
And speaking of questions, Lisa, the one I did not get to, which I'll ask you, which came in, it's about the student records and confidentiality. So please explain the student records confidentiality aspect and how is student information secured and protected in the platform?
Well, I know Rob, who is our CTO, PII keeps him up at night. That is one thing that we are very protective of here at Defined. So across the board, we're not ever collecting any sort of PII that we're going to ever share outside of the system. Only things that are necessary in terms of rostering, and everything is kept, in-house within the school or the district. And we are certainly never utilizing that outside of that in terms of any sort of confidentiality. So we'd be happy to follow up and send more. I know in our knowledge base site, we have a lot more in terms of what we do for that we'd be happy to send as a follow-up. But in short, we're certainly adhering to all of the guidelines for any sort of student confidentiality.
Yep, certainly. And of course, we work all across the US, Canada, internationally, and we meet all the objectives, strive to meet all the ever-changing rules and regulations around that. We take it very, very seriously. But thank you for that, Lisa. And of course, there was a lot of excitement around, and Kathleen, thank you for your question around when will this recording be available? And I answered it by saying, we're going to try to get you as soon as possible in the next couple of days. for sure. And thank you, of course, for sharing. And just to, to wrap up, and if there are any additional questions, please throw them in the chat for me and Lisa. But also just, we're out there. We see tons of great work in school districts. And what we want to hear more from you, and just want to encourage everyone who are current partners to enter the Define Difference Makers competition. We have categories in elementary and middle and high school, but we want to hear about your career-connected learning experiences. You can scan the QR code and enter, but we have the opportunity to win a $100 Amazon gift card. So we hope we continue to get many more folks joining us. And then just to close, Lisa, I want to thank you. I mean, love the updates. I love the ease of moving back and forth between Define Careers and Define Learning, greater functionality, greater customization across services, and of course, have to mention the augmented professional learning offerings through Defined Academy. So, thank you for all the information that you've shared, and also just for our audience as we roll out these changes, as Lisa articulated. We are excited to already announce September 17th at 3 p.m. Eastern, where we'll be having our back to school webinar. Well, of course, everything will be firmly in place by that time, but we'll have additional information to share as well. But just check one last look at the questions, but I think we're good. And so I guess that's all for now. I want to thank all of you for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you again in September, and thanks for partnering with Defined. We will see you real soon. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.